Hi, I'm Shamaya. It's like papaya, except it's not. And this is Plot Twist Please. I'm going to start off this episode by saying how much I didn't want to make this episode. Like, how much I didn't want to make this. I really did think that we'd gotten past this point in society. Like, I thought we were over this. I thought we had settled down into the idea that people should be treated like people, and that, people who were disabled deserved empathy, people who were not deserved empathy, Black and brown people deserve empathy. I really thought that was just an established idea, especially among artists. But I've come to find in the past few weeks that the theater world is far behind. And I knew this, right? I knew this. I'm not being obtuse here. I have been part of the industry for quite a minute, for a hot minute, and have been interested in this career since I was a little girl. So I knew that the vast majority of people who had power in this industry, as well as the regular schmegular people who partook, were not necessarily interested in people like me or in having empathy for people like me. That being said, I am still flabbergasted. I'm flabbergasted at how this whole Leah Michele being illiterate joke has blown up, how many people have latched onto it, how flippantly people are partaking in it, and how people are willing to rebut me when I tell them that it's problematic. Now, I like to have fun. I'm someone who likes to have a good time, right? I like kiki. I'm a good time. I'd like to think so. But, this ain't my idea of a good time. So here's my shtick, right? I am someone who likes to laugh, but I also am someone who likes to think about why jokes are funny. I want to know why I'm laughing. I want to know why generally a lot of people are laughing. If it's gotten as much heat as it has, it's gotten as much attention, much momentum as it has, I like to know why something's funny. Everyone is not like me. Everyone is not like Shamaya, and I acknowledge that. But if someone says, hey, maybe we should think about why we're laughing, and you call that person a killjoy, something's mismatched here. Something's weird, all right? We're being weird. And the reason why I say we're being weird is because we look at illiteracy, I think, generally in Western society, and I'm coming from a Western point of view. So I live in America, I live in the States, I've lived here my whole life. I don't have any immigrant parents. I grew up in the public school system where I happen to be very good at putting letters together, putting words together. And I, as an adult, happen to love language. That is something that I love to engage in. That is something that I love to dissect and to understand on as many levels as I can. That's just the way I am. I understand that not everyone is like me. But what I find to be so curious, what I find to be so interesting is there are people who refuse, rather, to acknowledge that other people are not like them. There are people who refuse to acknowledge that not everyone has the means to learn how to read, that the rate of the incarceration system in America, particularly geared toward Black and brown people, makes it so that the school to prison pipeline is a literal market, makes it so that when people get out of prison, they are too old to go to school, let alone even gather the skills to be able to get a job because they didn't go to school, because they didn't finish school, because they didn't take those tests, right? Because they didn't pass those reading classes, those language arts classes, because they were in a school system that was faulty, that was not supported, right? But I can recognize that everyone didn't have the same experience as me growing up. I can recognize that. And what is astonishing to me is that many people cannot do that. It is cognitive dissonance for them. So, girl, I'm moving this. I'm moving my phone. And here's the thing. I didn't want to come on here and rant. my battery said 20%. Okay, this is going to be real quick and in a hurry. And probably will be unedited. Because otherwise it'll probably be like 5 minutes long. But anywho, I didn't come on here to yell at anyone. I just came to read you a few stats, right? So for the people who can read, yet did not bring themselves to do a Google search, right? I'm going to read you a few stats because you refused to read them yourself or to look them up or to literally look at the list of Google search results that could come up if you even put in the word illiteracy or illiterate or illiteracy in America or illiteracy worldwide. Here's some facts for y'all who refused to do that work on your own. And I know this isn't everybody. I know that some people just don't know, which is why I say you don't know what you don't know. And I don't think, personally, you should be held accountable for the things you don't know. But if you're listening to this or watching this, now you know. So, is illiteracy a big enough issue for us to care about? Let's see. Or rather, this is the question that I'm sure many of you are asking, or many people in general are asking when it comes to, oh, should we be joking about this? Is it mundane enough for us to joke about, right? Because I feel like, and I'm kind of going on a tangent here, I recognize, but I realize that a lot of people think that something is up for grabs in the comedy world if not enough people are affected by it. But if you think that not enough people are affected by illiteracy for you to care or for it to be off limits, I'm just going to read a few things to you. So, the global literacy rate for all people ages 15 and above is 83%, but the rate varies throughout the world, particularly with developed nations having a rate of 99%. And we can acknowledge that the definition of developed countries, that phrase itself, can be problematic. We can acknowledge that. South and West Asia have 70%, just about, literacy as of about 2015. I know it's a little bit older of a stat, but hold on. And what stayed consistent, though, as I was doing my research, because your girl likes to have her notes, okay? She likes to have her footnotes. South Asia, West Asia, and Sub-Saharan Africa tend to have about, what does it say? Okay, over 75% of the world's illiterate adults are found in those countries. So what do we know, right? Here's what we know. South Asia, West Asia, Sub-Saharan Africa, brown. Brown, black. Black, brown. Yeah? Brown and black folks. Another stat for the people who don't think enough people are affected by this to care. If we're talking about America, right? We're talking about the States. The most people affected by illiteracy, African/Black people, African American/Black people in inner cities, right? Incarcerated Black folks, Hispanics, Latinx folks in inner cities, and Caucasians in rural areas, Appalachia, Deep South, etc. Now, if you also look a little bit closer at these stats, the white people who are mostly affected by illiteracy, let me rephrase that. White people are the most affected by illiteracy in America, purely by numbers. But when you go by the actual demographics and by the percentage of the people who are in the states, Black people are the most affected. Yes. And that can very well be attributed to the lack of public resources, to the faultiness of the American education system, the school-to-prison pipeline, etc., etc. Catching my drift here? Another one for the people who don't think enough people are affected to care. South Sudan ranks lowest of them all with a literacy rate of just 27%, followed by Afghanistan. And we know this is because these countries were pillaged and, uprooted and resources were depleted. We know that. States with the lowest literacy rates include California, with about 23% of adults lacking basic prose literacy skills. New York comes in second, then Florida, then Texas, then New Jersey. So that's a lot of people. And if we look at the global scale, it's about, oh gosh, if I'm remembering this correctly, it's about 56 billion people. Let me double check. Quick Google search. How many people in, we are shaking. We're shaking. So sorry. How many people in the world are illiterate? Okay. Let me do the vocal warm up. It's loading. Okay. Here we go. This has been updated at least as of 2020. At least, which is 2 years ago. Despite the steady rise in literacy rates of over the past 50 years, there are still 773 million illiterate adults around the world, most being women. Now, if you're one of those people who's like, okay, maybe Michele is not illiterate, right? Maybe she's not illiterate. So then the joke doesn't matter, right? We can say it because it's not true. How is that any different from saying that someone who is a bad person, whatever you believe about Michele, I'm not here to discuss that with you right now. That's not what this is. That's not what we're doing right now. We're talking about this joke, all right? So, if your argument is, well, she's a bad person and is not illiterate, therefore we can make the joke. What's the difference between that argument and that of, oh, this person isn't really a narcissist, but they're a bad person, so I can call them a narcissist? Or even, for those of you who are even more on the fringe in the mental health discussion, there'll be time to get you in the circle, there'll be time to get you in the loop. But for those of you who really have not done the reading, and I try not to be derogatory, I try to be understanding on here, but this is wild to me. So for the people who don't understand that reference, how is that any different from saying, oh, this person exhibited really poor behavior or malice or is really problematic, so they must have OCD? Or, so they must be autistic. Or, so they must be bipolar. Or, they must have anxiety. Like, are we understanding? You can't. Quick interjection. While I was recording this, I realized that for some people, illiteracy is a disability and for some it's not. So according to the ADA, it counts as a disability if it is the result of a physical or mental impairment or some sort of neurological condition, and that's when it applies. But even if it's not considered a disability, I want people to remember that things change constantly in the mental health world. The ADA considered ADHD a disability fairly recently, and it didn't used to be that way. Also, different kinds of accommodations have become more acceptable than others, and it's just a very fluid system. So I hope people understand that these things are not set in stone. Even so, something technically being a disability or something technically being legal should not be the marker, okay? It should not be the determining factor of whether something is morally sound. And yeah, we can debate about morality, but I think we should generally shoot toward empathy and aim toward being as empathetic toward others and being as conscious of people whose experiences do not mirror our own as possible. Yeah, we need to stop being weird. Do people understand what I'm saying here? Like, you can't, comparing a mental illness or a disability to someone who is a bad person purely because they are a bad person, whether it is true or not, is not helping. You are demonizing an entire group of people. And not only that, you're making light of their struggles. We had a golden opportunity here to come together as a unit, we had an opportunity. Why did y'all go and squander that? Why? It does not make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me. I literally had an argument with someone on the Tickety Talk about this joke because she was like, or whoever, I don't know who they are. And I'm not about to reveal the beef. That's not what this channel is. But this person, I made a TikTok post, right? I made a TikTok about how I think it's funny how in order to combat bigotry, people are becoming bigots. Or people are becoming part of a huge problem of making light of issues that they aren't akin to. Or issues that someone that they know doesn't have to deal with. Or a better way to phrase it, I think, is an issue that they have never encountered themselves. Just because you don't know anyone who's illiterate doesn't mean that people aren't illiterate. Just because you don't know an autistic person doesn't mean that autistic people aren't struggling. Like, these are not difficult concepts. I don't think. To me, it is willful ignorance if you have been told by someone in the disability community, and I call myself, I don't know if I call myself an advocate because it takes a lot of sacrifice that I don't know if I'm willing to make. But I definitely would call myself a voice in the disability community. I definitely am passionate about disability rights, and I definitely do my homework. How you gonna tell someone who does the reading? How you gonna tell someone who does their homework that this is okay? And you don't know anyone, and not that I know if this person has dealt with illiteracy or knows anyone who is illiterate or anything like that. But how are you going to tell someone who does this, who studies this, that it's okay? Huh? And I think the other thing that is fascinating is that I had the argument with this person, right? Back to that story because I went on another tangent. But I was telling this person that making fun of Michele for being illiterate is wrong, whichever way you slice it. And this person responded with, well, she's not really illiterate. And then I was like, it doesn't matter because you're still making light of an issue that for a lot of people is life altering. Whether it's you having a disability that makes it difficult for you to actually read the words, or makes it difficult for you to comprehend the words that you're looking at, or even retaining that information. Like, there are different levels to illiteracy. We need to understand that. There are different levels, there are different types based on, truly the bag that someone is given, truly the situation that lands in someone's lap, that they have very little control or no control at all over. And so we're just going to say, because she's not illiterate, that it's fine. How is it different than calling someone the R word out of context? How is it different than calling someone who's participating in poor behavior or harmful behavior or even just being silly? How is it different than calling them the R word? Because they're not, really. So it's fine, right? I also think it's funny when people make the argument of, well, and I've said this in the past 15 minutes, that it's fine because she's a bad person. Okay. So let's argue that there is no such thing as disabilities, right? Let's just argue that those don't exist. And we just can make fun of people for being terrible people, right? What fruit is that actually bearing? Like, what progress is that making? What are we actually changing? And I know that everyone has a different way of grieving. Everyone has a different way of finding catharsis, right? Because as many people could agree, when celebrities participate in harmful behavior habitually and never, ever have to suffer any consequences, I am someone who, and this is the part that we have to do some searching, right? Some soul searching. I sometimes like to see the suffering. I like to see them suffer. All right? And someone who's a celebrity cannot be reached by someone as small as me. So I understand that sentiment. I understand wanting to see a celebrity suffer because you literally cannot touch them. And even if they aren't suffering, just the idea of you having some sort of power, just the idea of you harnessing something, does something to us. Like, we can't deny. Making fun of celebrities makes us feel good. Calling them out on their mess makes us feel good. Canceling someone makes us feel great. We have to acknowledge that. But that is not a framework for any kind of restorative action. That is not a framework that is going to progress us forward in a way that actually helps the people who should have our attention. That's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to say. They should have our attention. The people who she hurt, the people who are still hurting, because people who are rich and famous never have to suffer any consequences, and rich and famous and white, might I add, never have to suffer any consequences. Those people who have to bear the brunt of their actions, of their harmful behavior, they're who we should be paying attention to. How do we reconcile with them? How do we support them? How do we say, I am sorry for not listening to you the first time? These jokes, I get they're just jokes. I get it. Do I think this one tiny 20-minute video is going to stop the TikToks from happening? It's going to stop people from posting about it. It's going to stop audience members from laughing when the line about Fanny Bryce reading comes along? No. I wasn't born yesterday. The internet is very much a way of my livelihood now. I know that this is not the video that's going to stop anything on its own. Like, I know that. But I just needed to yell at somebody. I just needed to yell at somebody because I was tired of yelling at people on TikTok. I was tired of yelling at people in my comment section. So I'm going to put all the links to my sources in the description of this video. This is going to be one of my less edited videos, and we'll see how it does. Like, to be honest, I feel like the videos that are less scripted, where I just like have my points and can just go off and be passionate about something, those are the ones that tend to do the best. But we gonna see, y'all. We gonna see. Cause here's the bottom line too. We have two choices when celebrities participate in heinous behavior. We have two, and only two. The first choice is to aid. Oh, shoot. Oh, I got 10%. Okay, we gotta wrap it up, girl. We gotta wrap it up. Okay, two choices. Your two choices are to aid the people who have been harmed and put all your energy on them. Or, and maybe these two happen synonymously, simultaneously, or you focus on the perpetrator, you focus on the celebrity themselves, you bring their empire down and try and put your energy toward that. But frankly, I am more interested in the former. My politic is more socially, economically aligned with the former. Because rich white people are just going to keep being rich and white. Like, white supremacy is going to be around for a minute. She's going to be here for a while. And I have found that it is much healthier for me to put my efforts toward supporting Black people, supporting the people who this person harmed, to pouring into their artistic pursuits, to buying their albums, to watching their movies, to buying tickets to their Broadway shows. That is the kind of progress I'm interested in. I'm not saying not to hold these people accountable, but like, I ain't gonna do it. It's not gonna be me. It's not gonna be me. So that's kind of where I want to leave it, is like, where do you want to put your energy? And do you want to harm more marginalized people in the process of trying to take this celebrity's empire down? Because by participating in this joke, by gassing it up, you are participating in erasure. You are. Sit with it. You are. You have been. And that's okay. Acknowledge it now. And we press on. We move forward. All right? All right? Okay. Oh, glad we had the little heart to heart. I needed to yell at somebody. And now I'm gonna eat my soup and steam. And thank y'all for listening. This will probably be an unedited video, like I said before. Like, subscribe, share this with somebody who needs to hear it. And yeah, follow me if you like what I'm saying to you. Bye. Oh, and stay weird.